Hey guys, to figure out the best estimate of an imperfect square, the first thing I have to do is figure out the two numbers that it falls between, because that will be the easiest way to determine exactly where on the number line this goes. So I know that 51 is not a perfect square. That means that there are no two numbers I could multiply by itself in order to get 51. So, but I'm thinking to myself, I know that 49 is a perfect square, and I know that 64 is a perfect square. The square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 64 is 8. So that means the square root of 51 must fall between 7 and 8 on a number line. Now, my next step to get even more specific is to figure out, is the square root of 51 going to be closer to 7 or 8? Well, I know that 51 is 2 spaces away from 49 on a number line, but it's 13 spaces away from 64 on a number line. So I know since it's closer to 49, the square root of 51 is going to be closer to 7. So now I'm going to list my answer choices. You might remember from class that if the number is closer to the lower integer, then my answer choices are going to be between 0.1 and 0.4. That means my potential answer choices here are 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, or 7.4. Now all we have to do is pick one and try it out. I'm going to choose 7.2. That seems like a good one. And all I'm going to do is multiply it by itself. All right, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. I'm going to have a 0 placeholder. 7 times 2 is 14, carry my 1. And then 7 times 7 is 49, plus 1 is 50. Now if I just add these, 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 1 plus 0 is 1, and then bring down my 5. Now, I have two numbers behind decimals, so I know I'm going to move my decimal in 2 spots and drop it off. My answer here is 51.84, and that is pretty darn close to 51, so 7.2 is a good estimate. Let's do another one. All right, guys, let's look at the square root of 63. I know that it is not a perfect square. So in order to figure out its estimate for the square root, I need to find the two numbers that it falls between. So I'm thinking to myself, I know that 49 is a perfect square and that 64 is a perfect square. The square root of 49 is 7 and the square root of 64 is 8. So the square root of 63 must fall between 7 and 8. I know that 63 is closer to 64 than it is to 49, so the square root of 63 is going to be closer to 8. So I'm going to write out some answer choices here. I know if it's closer to the larger number, the decimal will be between 0.6 and 0.9. So my answer choices here are 7.6, 7.7, 7.8, and 7.9. Remember, you want numbers between 7 and 8. If you wrote 8.6 all the way up to 8.9, those numbers are between 8 and 9 and are way too big. I'm going to go ahead and pick one and square it and see if it's close. 7.9 seems like a good choice, so let's go ahead and square that. 7.9 times 7.9. 9 times 9 is 81. Put my 1 down, carry my 8. 9 times 7 is 63. Plus 8 is 71. 0 placeholder. Scratch out my 8. 7 times 9 again is 63. Carry my 6. And then 49. 7 times 7 is 49. Plus 6 is, 55? And now all I'm doing is adding. 1 plus 0 is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 5 plus 7 is 12. Carry my 1. And then 5 plus 1 is 6. My decimal goes right in the middle. 62 and 41 hundredths is really close to 63, So 7.9 is my answer for the square root of 63. One more, then you'll practice. All right, guys, let's say I have the square root of, we'll say 14. Again, not a perfect square, so I have to find the numbers it falls between. I know that 9 is a perfect square. I know that 16 is a perfect square. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4. 14 is closer to 16 than it is to 9, so the square root of 14 must be closer to 4. So my answer choices here are going to be 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, and 3.9. And again, you're just going to pick one and see if it's close enough. I'm going to choose to go with 3.8. Seems like a good choice. 8 times 8 is 64. Put my 4 down and carry my 6. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 6 is 30. 0 placeholder. Again, 3 times 8 is 24. Carry my 2. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11. Four plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 0 is 4. So I'm coming out with 14 and 44/100ths, which again is pretty darn close to 14. So 3.8 is a good estimate for the square root of 14. All right, guys, that's it for me. You guys are going to practice. Keep in mind that if you get numbers that are too large or too small, you can keep checking to see which one is the closest. Remember, it's just an estimate. Let's practice.